Just one more sustainability transformation topic before we bring you to the experience track. A little bit of an advertisement here. You see some black cloth all around the ballroom, and there is another ballroom over the other side. That's where the panel speakers is in between, right? We're in between you, lunch, no, in between you, tea break, and the experience track. A lot of the things that we're going to talk about with the panelists today has got a lot of relevance to the two experience tracks that we're designing. Right, so without further ado, let me play with the, yeah, all right. Fantastic, so now I think, okay, Nicole and Koh is kind of like the other way around, so just one thing to make sure that everybody's still awake after the morning session. So without further ado, the topic about sustainability transformation. We all know transforming business in a way that drives positive, lasting change involves looking into three things: economic growth, social inclusion, Nicole talked a lot about that, environmental protection. I think environmental protection is the area that a lot of us knows about, but probably not the first two. Now on that note, many sustainable challenges we know are problems of inefficiencies, and we believe technologies can be used to optimize the benefits and reduce waste. But we also know that technology alone itself is not enough. We need greater collaboration, cooperation among businesses, government, and society, right? We all said that we're all in it together. But having said that, Philippines is quite a young country compared to where I come from, Singapore, right? Our average age is, I think, 50 now, is it, Koh? Philippines is a lot younger. What's the average age? Maybe about 30? I think the last, even lower. Wow, okay, right. So what does that mean? The consumers are forcing organizations to change. The younger generations, the consumers, as we know, right, they need to know that the things are sustainability sourced, for example. So consumers are making that change to force organization to move along. Government regulations, we still need them, right? Regardless of the political environment we are in, regulations and governments are definitely important in that area, and especially for Southeast Asia market, right? Anything that happens in EU, right, in the European Union, as export markets, Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3 are still necessary for us and organizations in this country. And finally, climate change. If you come from Australia, you probably will understand the kind of situations we are in. I think Philippines were pretty similar as well, with all the typhoons and the changing climate, right? So we are in a very lucky generation that we still have the opportunity to control what we can do. And today with our panel, our panelists, screen is quite low. With our panelists, we're going to address leadership strategies for sustainability transformation. And with that, we know that sustainability transformation vary by industry, right? So let us start with a conversation with Rocky, Meralco, utilities. How do you define sustainability transformation in your business? Is it essential? And finally, is it an opportunity or a threat?
Well, thank you, Jess. I think it was mentioned this morning by Nicole that whenever we hear about the word sustainable or sustainability, what immediately comes to mind is about going green or protecting our environment. Well, in Meralco, it's bigger and broader than that. Our sustainability agenda is anchored on a holistic approach, which we call 4Ps. We're 1P more than the 3Ps that was mentioned by Nicole a while ago. The first P, obviously, is power. It's providing affordable, accessible, and reliable electricity to all of our customers within our reach. The second P is planet, making sure that we protect and preserve this only home that we have, we call Mother Earth. Third is about our people, ensuring that we have developmental goals for our employees for them to perform in a safe and inclusive environment. And lastly, prosperity, which underpins all of these pillars and is anchored in creating better lives for all. So I think the 4 Ps of Meralco, power, planet, people, and prosperity, is a testament that we believe that sustainable transformation is both essential and an opportunity, not just in sustaining our business, but also bettering lives of people on how we do and conduct our business. Thank you.
4 Ps? One more P, more than Fujitsu. What about Charmaine? What is it like in Aboitiz?
So for Aboitiz, one of the key things, and we're about 3 Ps, but I'm just gonna read to you or just give you a sense of what we do. One of the key things that we learned when we were new in the organization as you on board is you had to learn your ABCs. And what was that all about? And that was about understanding our vision and the goal of the organization, and that's advancing business and communities. So let's think about it. Our business is about building and advancing communities. And in the last 10 years, our chairman of the board, as well as our chairman CEO, has said that, one, we need to govern. We need to have good governance. We learned about sustainability, having a cleaner and sustainable environment, and having the social responsibility. So we haven't forgotten about corporate social responsibility either. So because we've learned this, we translated advancing business and communities equals sustainability. And sustainability equates to economic, environment, social, and governance. So we do have a trifecta, if you will, of people, planet, and profit. So most financial companies are successful because they have now started and incorporated sustainability in their business model, their values, and their goals. And this is not something that you just say because you want to have a corporate social responsibility. If you remember many years back, we were talking about have a CSR. That's really not about it. It's not just that. It's growth in your people and your communities and development of your internal, organizational, as well as your community. Again, going back to our advancing business and communities. And I can talk more, but I think there's other questions that we can delve into.
So do you think, Charmaine, is sustainability transformation an opportunity or a threat to business?
When it is, you look at sustainability as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to make your community better. Again, going back to advancing business and communities, this is something that's ingrained in us. And it is an opportunity to determine how we can grow and change our processes, how we can provide value, sustainable value to our clients, to the community. And that, I think you spoke about earlier, the use of data. One of the key things that we've added to our business was our Aboitiz data innovation and data science. And that particular unit is really all about understanding how we can, number one, diminish our carbon footprint. We have a power company just like Meralco. And so renewable energy and lowering that, creating a 50-50 mix. We do have feeds and farms and manufacturing. How do we use data in order to, one, reuse, recycle, because we manufacture things, right? And in banking, how do we lower believe it or not, banking has a carbon footprint, right? So how do we further lower that? So in all aspects of our business, we are tasked to ensure that we have sustainability goals in each one of those businesses. And it goes all the way down to the team leaders, team members.
Fantastic. So we have 4 Ps and we have ABCs, and I must introduce Nicole to everybody else, but now we're talking about memorable alphabets. Yeah. Nicole is the mother of a algorithm or a formula that we created within the company. Would you like to tell us what formula that is?
PX, which stands for People Transformation, plus DX, which is Digital Transformation, delivers SX, Sustainability Transformation.
No stress, Koh-Yang. Later we'll come to you for another formula. So on that note, Nicole, from a purpose, people, culture perspective, right? Is sustainability transformation an opportunity or a threat to business?
Absolutely an opportunity. I think something Charmaine just said about in all aspects of our business. And I think when Fujitsu recognized that in all aspects, we were able to change our mindset for our business strategy that said, let's not just change the way we operate. So we do have our carbon emission reduction strategy, which is focused on operations. And we also have our digital technology, which helps organizations track carbon emissions and therefore have better strategies. But in addition to that, how do we partner with governments and research institutes and communities to help create ecosystems of collaboration that deliver sustainability outcomes? So, and I'll give you just one really quick example. It's how we use our digital technology and innovation, as well as who we use it with and why we're using it. So, as you may know, as customers of Fujitsu, we have IT help desk call centers. We're in the Philippines, the center of call centers in the world. In Australia, we don't have that many onshore call centers anymore, but we do still have some that are required by government contracts. They require a sovereign call center capability. So we took this idea and we put an inclusion lens, so back to this idea of big S sustainability in all aspects of our business, and we said, who are the most disadvantaged communities in Australia that would most benefit from having the opportunity, the economic opportunity of having a call centre in their community? And we partnered with the government and with the community and our customers to open a call centre and to train the call centre staff, but the call centre is actually owned by the community. And so that was what was different in our business strategy, was that we handed over our digital technology innovation to a community and said, use this for your prosperity and we will partner with you to be successful. So I think that point about in all aspects of your business means that your business model, you can harness what your business does, who it does it with, and how it does it in new ways using sustainability transformation as your framework.
Fantastic. So Koh-Yang, for you to add on from a technology angle, is it an opportunity or is it a threat?
I think right now from the technology side, it's really an opportunity that Fujitsu can capitalize on. Just to add on, I think the panelist speakers here has raised very important point. But I think there's one part of it that I'd like to bring your attention is today, no one can escape from this sustainability reporting requirements that's coming out of the European Union. They are making it requirements that under Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive that you need to report how much carbon emission you consume, even though you may not, your operation may not reside in Europe, but has under Scope 3 emission, you are required to make that declaration, so as to help the European Union to be able to control their emission. So this is a very important opportunity for us to work on, because today many organizations, especially ASEAN side or Asia, predominantly is the largest manufacturing powerhouse supplying products, solutions, services to the European Union itself. And with that technology is one key enablement. How we can help them in their reporting, how we can organize their data to efficiently allow them to report what they consume in terms of carbon emission, so that the companies in European Union can make the plans to actually act on it in terms of reduction or controlling the carbon emission plan. Yep.
Fantastic, thank you. And as we can see, and I'm going to show you some statistics. Yep, this is the one. Large firms, right? Meralco, Aboitiz, Fujitsu, not small too. Large firms itself in Asia Pacific, we're all trying to, and we actually have started, right, to act faster on sustainability. But we also know that within APEC or just in ASEAN alone, the regional inconsistencies also hinder some of our progress. But that said, right, we're starting to see some of the analyst firms doing research, right, not just on America's company or European company, we're starting to look into Asia Pacific. Now, I thought that this report is actually quite interesting to share with everyone. Forrester recently did a state of environmental sustainability. Although it's on environmental sustainability and not the other two pieces, but this is the beginning, right? Beginning of a new era. And if you look at the statistics on top, forget about the alignment. I'm a bit OCD in that perspective. If you look at the statistics on top, 64% of them have named a sustainability lead. If we look at our panelists today, right, from Meralco, from Aboitiz, they do have specific sustainability leaders in an organization. So case in point, right, we've started to pay a lot of attention in this space. 62% of the large companies have scope 1 and 2 carbon neutral goals. This is actually a very high percentage. I thought it would be a lot lower. And the other part around scope 3, 16% of them have started to put in carbon neutral goals for a significant amount of scope 3 emission. What this means is the spotlight is on, right? It's not just on companies. Large companies are making a lot of advancement in that area and pushing government and the community alongside us. That said, that brings me to my second questions, right? We talk about ESG, we talk about economic, we talk about social governance. So from a large organization perspective or from an organization perspective, the question that I would like to ask some of our panelists are, how do we determine some of the ESG or materiality factors that affect your business and how your business affect the world around it, right? Perhaps, Charmaine, would you like to expand on this a little bit?
So in essence, what we're really saying is what parts of the business are doing sustainability programs. And again, all-encompassing, every one of the businesses are mandated. This is not something that again, we're back to communities and we're back to our sustainability goal. For example, in our energy, we're going to 50-50 mix. And as the year goes on and the next several years, we're wanting to get a 60-40, I'm pretty sure, down the road. But we're already moving towards a 50-50, and we're really working on a lot of renewables, right? And we've increased our footprint in hydro as well. So ensuring that we're moving in that direction, so we're moving out of the more emission hog type of industries. The second is in understanding that in each of our business units, the goals are towards sustainability are twofold. Number one, you have co-creations, because co-creations are important. You cannot do it alone. You're going to need somebody, whether it's government or another organization, right? In terms of, and I'll give an example, with our banking industry. In terms of saying that one of the goals were to basically bank the unbanked, right? So you're taking banking to those that don't necessarily have a bank account, right? And how do they transact? And they need to be able to transact with the technology that they do have. We can't say buy a phone to the farmer out there. We have to make sure that we find that connection with this existing technology that they can afford and that they do have. although it's not an environmental piece, but it's a social piece, is extending the ability to be able to finance and be able to get a straight-through process to the farmer. Again, another issue of we're taking out those middle areas that affect the farmer to be able to sell his goods, some of which use blockchain, and need of technology and need of data science, right? The other piece was in our cement. We understand that when we build buildings, we use cement, we use a lot of, that's a lot of carbon footprint there. But how do you remanufacture, for example, plastic? We found a way through data science and AI and co-creation partnerships that allow us to be able to recycle those plastics into manufacturing buildings. Can we utilize that plastic again? Because that is not soluble, unfortunately. They will live for thousands of years, right? And so how do we utilize that? So we do the studies there, and we need that co-creation again with our communities to be able to do that. So I hope I've answered the questions with reference to what we are doing in that aspect.
That's good. And I spring this surprise question on Charmaine. She wasn't supposed to answer this. Thank you, Charmaine. Rocky, what about you in the utility industry?
Yeah, well, first, to start off, like what we did in Meralco, in 2019, we created a sustainability office. That's the first thing we did. And at the same time, we elevated the sustainability goals by management to be at the top, the same level as energy sales, revenue generation, digital transformation. So you see, so to elevate the importance of what sustainability is, putting it up to the board level. After building the sustainability office, they're the one who took charge in doing the materiality assessment. So again, it has to be collaboration across, not just within the organization, but the peripheral industries that support us. Obviously, as a distribution utility, we don't generate our own power, so we have to work with generation companies and other industries, but also working with our partner vendors. In fact, one of the initiatives that our supply chain did was to include in the scoring whenever we release our requests for proposal, the sustainability goals of the different vendors that actually provide supplies to us. Also mandating the use of reusable packaging materials whenever they deliver a lot of our assets and equipment. So this process of going through from the top, making sure that everyone collaborates in bringing about what our goals is as far as Meralco is concerned, allow us to determine the specific objectives of each organization within Meralco, and it forms part of our regular reporting internal to Meralco, and is now part of our annual report that we provide to all of our stakeholders and directors. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you. It sounds very easy. Shall we ask them some difficult question? Yes? Right. So, difficult question now. Challenges. Right. What challenges do your business commonly face when you start to get into this process of sustainability transformation? I'll spring a surprise one. Maybe Koh-Yang, right, from a technology angle.
I think some of the challenges that today the organization faces, there's no doubt, if you can't provide the reporting back to EU, gradually you will lose your business because they will not be in control of how they can do their emission reduction. And most importantly, the key challenge that today what we face is how are we going to get our data in the right order so that we can provide the reporting to them. And most importantly, are you going to scout around to hunt for the data, high and low, just to make the right reporting, going through tons of activity within your organization to do this? Or are you going to make use of technology to automate, to intelligent, maybe use AI, to intelligence craft out the data reports that you need to do. I'll give an example. Today, many of us have our business activity being logged as data in SAP or ERP system. There's tons of data, how your organization actually does manufacturing, how much emission maybe you use for particular manufacturing activity, to even corporate, when maybe some of our executives fly on to go on business trip, how much carbon emission they generate. All this can actually be derived from the data you existingly have. But the key challenge is how to do that. That's where Fujitsu will be able to help you in terms of having the right technology solution from our ESG management platform that we have internally developed and also working with our partners to drive all these challenges that you have for data reporting.
Thank you, thank you. This wasn't, we didn't tell him to talk about Fujitsu at all, right? So this was just him on behalf of Cricket and now sales team. What about from a PP&C perspective, right? Challenges and how do we overcome them?
I think the challenge is knowing where to start and what will have the biggest impact. So this idea of materiality is central to your business strategy, because if you're not focused on the right materiality, your business strategy won't be successful. But within materiality, knowing where to start to head towards what you want to achieve, I think that that's a really important challenge to recognize through a lens of purpose, people, and culture. This idea about people's well-being. So we use this term people's well-being to talk about society, but actually when you turn that and have an inside-out view, your business success is central, is based upon your people's well-being. And there's many statistics in human resources that you can point to that says more engaged people, so people who are happier, people who have higher well-being at work, help move more creative solutions, which help drive productivity, which helps drive profitability and prosperity for the business. So I think sometimes I see organizations struggle with connecting their people's well-being with their business strategy in a material way that delivers impact. And it's the connecting of those dots through the use of digital technology that there's an opportunity set there to overcome that challenge.
Didn't sound like it was a difficult question, is it? Okay, maybe another difficult question. Let's talk about technology since we're Fujitsu. Right? So a question for Rocky to start. Do you think technology play a role in the advancement of sustainability transformation initiatives? And do you have an example in Meralco to share with us?
Yeah, well, we in Meralco believe that technology and innovation play a critical role for us to be able to achieve our sustainability agenda. We have 4 Ps in our sustainability transformation. In our digital transformation, we have 4 Ds. And 4 Ds. And these are focused on our digital customer, digital grid, digital employee, and digital enterprise, which supports all these 4 pillars in everything that we do. For the grid, our objective is to be able to have a smarter grid, allowing us to efficiently use the resources we have, obviously a scarce resource in energy, and being able to distribute that in a very efficient way. We're upgrading our advanced distribution management system to 2.0, which will allow it to now receive renewable energy from different sources, or the distributed energy resource management. The government has already put that into law, and we'll see more and more of this renewable energy being generated by companies. And it now will allow us to put that back into the grid so that it can be consumed by other consumers. The other thing that we're working on together with the government is our advanced metering infrastructure, or smart meters. in Meralco in the Philippines, there are roughly very few smart meters deployed because we're still working on the policies and guidelines on how to deploy it. But imagine if we are able to know exactly on a near real-time basis what households are consuming, and being the household know which appliances is consuming more and less. That will then provide our consumers a means to, make use of the proper resource of their electricity. In fact, there have been a study of many countries who have implemented smart meters that around 10 to 15% of their electric consumption is saved because they're able to monitor their consumption. Other than the smarter grid, well, the customer platform of Meralco, anchored on our customer centricity transformation program, has always enabled our consumer so that they can digitally transact with Meralco, not having to go to the business centers, avoiding a lot of all these paper requirements and stuff. Even in our bill, when we revamp our billing statement, and I hope people here have seen it, we've actually incorporated the GHG emissions and trees. So you can see alongside your kilowatt hour consumption how much trees you've actually consumed to generate that power. But it allows you to be more conscious about your usage. Thus, we feel that if such information is given, our consumers can be more empowered and can contribute to sustainability. We're using other technologies. Last year, we launched PowerTech Innovation Experience Lab, which is our augmented virtual reality room, which allows our engineers to train within a room without having to go through our different substations. It uses virtual rendering solutions similar to Metaverse, but it's primarily used for training. AI has been used in Meralco, machine learning. We've been able to avoid 200,000, roughly 200,000 plus outages because we are able to anticipate a distribution transformer before it blows out because of overloading. We are able to detect through the data that we have and allow our engineers to go there and fix it before things can go wrong. So a lot of these technologies are helping Meralco and its consumers to be more aware on sustainability and allow us as an organization to also be more efficient using data and automation and the synergy of all this information. Thank you.
Charmaine, do you see technology playing a key role in your environment?
Absolutely. It's actually the basis of what many of our transformation projects. And when I talk about transformation projects, and I say this because of experience, in the last 2 years that I've been, in the last 2 years of our transformation, we've had transformation projects, workshops, down to the team leader and team member levels. What does that mean? It's really the transformation team asking, what do you see 10 years from now? What do you think is valuable to your community or your client in whatever business that was? So we use those workshops to get the ideation started. And from there, I'm going to give you a couple. We do have a sustainability site, so you can feel free. All 17 of the SDGs requirements we have an answer for. It's one of those things that, do we have an answer, a real answer? And is it material enough, right? So one of the key things that we've garnered in terms of understanding how we operate, and we already talked about energy. Now let's talk about water, and that's wastewater, right? So we have a Lima Corporation, which is in the south area, and we provide water to that particular community. And we also understood that water waste What do we do with that? How do we treat it? We needed data to understand usage, to understand patterns, the trends, and how we were treating it initially. And through analysis and a bit of deep learning, we understood that if we change a particular sequence, we are now able to lower and improve the quality of even the wastewater, right? So because that's important, because eventually wastewater goes where? Back to nature, right? We want to lower the amount of that. We don't normally think about it. We always think about water availability. But I think water waste is as important. One of the key things that we did as well, and I'll move to people, and I picked up on this, it's because one of the key things that changed over the last several years as well is how we treat our partners. Partners, a recognized LGBTQ and common law within our organization. Because this is something that's happening worldwide, and we wanted to make sure that we also provided that eligibility and availability to our employees. So that's the people and social aspect. And I'll talk about one of my favorite, an example, is the seafront residences. When I was new in Aboitiz, and that was several years ago, we had one of those weekend trips, and it was called Free the Pawikan, right? And these were the little turtles, right? Called sea turtles, I would say in English. And we would have the CSR with reference to this, right? And over time, we grew to love this, pretty much this community. And over time, we decided to let's build the residences, a multi-purpose, one that's ecologically sound, as well as an opportunity for the community to be able to build on a surrounding area. Another example is what we have in the south, and what's happening up north is sustainable environment. What do we mean by that? Sustainable community. It's dual purpose. We have some of the utilities on one side. We had the residentials on one side, and building the smart city around it. And believe it or not, we learned so much from it. We realized that building a smart city isn't just saying we're interconnecting technologies together. It's actually being able to understand what a community member, a family, would need, and what does sustainability mean for them, and what does smart city mean to that family member, the father, the mother, the kids, the community. What does that house look like? What is this compound? What is that community? How would that look like? And how does that interact with everything around it? And if we're saying, I want it sustainable, so do we mean to say we need to develop the right amount of energy, renewable, water, and all these things that actually feed the community or those opportunities? And technology is the only way to be able to study that, because if we were to do it manually, we won't be able to build it.
Can I just build on that? A great example of why digital innovation is absolutely key to sustainability, because it converges the digital world and the physical world in real time, so that we are able to know what the experience of an individual, of a family, of a community, of a society is. So the only way that we have the power to take that data and get insights from it, to convert that into knowledge, to make better decisions, like that example that you just gave there, and to evaluate that to see what the impact is through a lens of materiality, the things that are actually important. The only way we can do that is through digital innovation.
So true. And Koh Yang, you have a very good example around the digital twin, isn't it? That we can model without actually making mistakes.
Yep. In Fujitsu, we have the social digital twin, one of the key technologies that Fujitsu developed. We're able to model cities, we're able to model some traffic conditions, many different kind of use cases that we have. But maybe just to sum it up, I think Rocky talked a lot on the technology that they deployed in Meralco, which is what, maybe I'll just give a quick prelude here. This is what you're going to see here today, experience here today. Some of the augmented reality technology that he talked about is actually here. By Fujitsu, we do it, we deploy it in a different use case. So stay tuned for later on. You will get to see some of this technology that's being developed. Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you for the advertisement. Now, between now is your tea break. 2 more questions, right? Just hang in with me. We talk a lot about transformational sustainability, transformational initiatives and projects. It is also important to measure, right? What does success looks like? It's so easy to talk, right? What are some of the success metrics that are used to evaluate the successes of any sustainability transformation initiative in your company? Maybe you go down the line from Rocky first.
Well, yeah. For us in Meralco, we put sustainability in the front and center of what we do. As I said, we've elevated it to the level of the CEO, and the CEO is actually measured based on the sustainability metrics and goals of the company. And that's one way for us to make sure that are we progressing in the right direction where we want to bring the whole group, One Meralco. And I think for us, some of the key learnings as we undergo this journey, I think it's similar to how we embark in our digital transformation. One, clear directives accelerates change. It always has to start from the top. If the top is able to give directions, we are able to make sure that everyone is on the same beat and able to follow where we're going to go as an organization where we're headed. Second is we in Meralco always have emphasized that though technology is a great enabler, we need to focus on humans, not just on technology. And that true and real transformation is human transformation. What are you able to do with the resources that you have, the technology that you have? Are you able to change lives and better lives of your people, your customers, and your community? So at the end of the day, that's our goal. Not technology for the sake of the technology, but really creating value for the people and leveraging on this technology that we have. We talk about data, yes. It's really going to help us. AI will really help us. But at the end of the day, if you don't focus on what really matters is really providing value to humans, and that what you're really transforming is the mindset of humans to really be involved in the sustainability of not just our organization, but the whole world, then all of us will be failing. So in the end, in Meralco, we embrace our hashtag. We believe that in Meralco, we keep the lights on, and we are powering a good life.
Top it up,
Thank you.
Charmaine.
All right, so for Aboitiz, balance is key, right? And again, we talked about people, planet, and prosperity. Having strong governance is really important. As they say, if something is not measured, it won't get done. And therefore, there are ESG, or there are, of those 17 SDGs, there are many different KPIs, or key performance indicators, that each of our businesses are mandated to have with reference to what we've identified as our sustainability goal. Right? So we have to build those milestones and goalposts. And it is up to us, team leaders, team members, in our annual and our multi-year strategic plans, and we are then accountable for the completion of those stated goals. Now, these are not something that the organization said you must do. They asked us and said, what are those transformational, sustainable goals? The transformation of the organization, the transformation of your community, and the transformation of your client. What are those, and how are you projecting this? Is it a 1 year, 2 years, multi-year? So it's really important to ensure that we are measured, we build the KPIs, we report on those. We also have our sustainability leader, not to mention the board committee on sustainability. So quarterly, this is something that has to be reported, not only because it's a requirement as far as following the 17 UN SDG goals, but as an organization, because of our ABCs, because of our mandate to really increase and ensure that we're building the community. And the only way to do that is we have our goal sets and goal posts and milestones that are material enough that our client and our community will see. So I think that kind of sums out how do we kind of make sure that we're doing what we're doing in terms of sustainability.
Fantastic. So Nicole and Koh-Yang, right, one last question and then we'll rotate it back to Rocky and Charmaine. Finally, right, before we go and have our tea break, what advice will you give businesses or fellow friends here if they're just beginning their sustainability transformation journey?
You understand your business strategies very well, and you understand how that business strategy translates into profit or prosperity, as we've been talking about. So my advice is, as you get started, think about what are the non-financial indicators, what are the things that you wouldn't previously have measured or looked at or counted, this idea of materiality, what's going to make a difference, and start to write them down. Just have a think, a brainstorm. These are the things that actually influence your financial indicators. So we've been talking about people and planet and prosperity. Perhaps some time ago, we wouldn't have necessarily thought as those as non-financial indicators that create business value. And when you can articulate what those are, then you can reach out to organisations that you want to co-create and partner with and think about how you use digital transformation to move the needle on those non-financial indicators to drive business value.
Fantastic. Koh-Yang, technology?
I think from technology perspective, Fujitsu is a SI. Fujitsu today can help you to make many recommendations. But before we go about that, I think for any large organization, the first step is to appoint a sustainability officer to be in office and assemble a virtual team from various cross-functional teams in the organization to work together to drive sustainability through the whole organization. And with that, if organization actually lacks of ideas or solution or understanding, this is where I'd like to maybe on behalf of Cricket to share, Fujitsu Philippines has actually rolled out or opened up our Digital Transformation Center where we actually have DTC, design thinking methodology to help organizations within Philippines to transform. This could be one of the human-centric co-creation efforts that together we can work between Fujitsu and organizations like yourself to drive sustainability transformation using digital technologies. And we hope to be able to advise you on the journey to sustainability because it's not a one-day affair. Maybe as a start, let's start small. Look at a particular process or a particular department. Let's map out what is required to have the data that's necessary to control your emission, to understand your activity, your workflow, and drive a transformation towards it to reduce it. maybe have incremental years goals to drive towards a net zero reduction towards that workflow or activity. That's what I foresee we can do.
That's a nice one. Start small, scale quickly, and also learn fast, right? From success and mistakes. Charmaine, advice for people who are just going to start.
You know, it's interesting listening to Nicole. I was like, are you reading my notes? Because I had actually written the same thing. So, really understanding, number one, is you have to start somewhere. But the key to starting is you already know what your business does. You already know what your value is to your client. The challenge is making sure that that value that you're creating is scalable and sustainable. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, because that's basically how you want your business to be. It's not a subscription of 1 year, right? So in order to do that, you need to now incorporate sustainable strategies. And the sustainable strategies are not necessarily simply a technological or cost or, definitely we can use AI to determine certain things. But there are non-technical activities that we need to do and engage with our client and understanding what is it like for that particular client or person. And once we've identified that, you will find that you will have so many ideas that you're going to start to have to prioritize what the most important ones are. I promise that when you look at the lens, it's just a mentality, a shift in the way that we think. And we think in terms of you are that person. I am receiving a service from this organization. If I'm taking on a product or a service, how do I want it to be? And how scalable is it and responsive will it be to my life changes? Because my life will change. And so I can't just provide you with a product or service that will appease you for today. I need something that you will utilize 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years from now. So in doing so, you end with several, and I mean, we came up with so many when we did this mental shift that it was amazing. It was almost saying, I have this 100, which one of these 100 can I go with, and how many can I onboard, right? And you'll find yourself in that situation.
And Rocky talked about mindset shift as well, right? So final advice to our colleagues here?
Yeah, well, just to sum up, right, and I think it's been said, you have to start with the top, right? And building up a sustainability office is important because they'll drive it across the organization. You have to be practical with your metrics. You need to baseline first. Of course, you won't know where you're heading if you don't do the baseline, and tell you it's the hardest thing to do. Knowing where you are in terms of some of the sustainability metrics is the hardest thing to do because you have to talk to different stakeholders, not just within and outside the organization. As mentioned a while ago, I was talking about we're requiring our suppliers to use recyclable material. But if none of your suppliers use that, then you cannot implement it. So it's important to understand what's out there and then use metrics that will allow you to see progression because that will motivate you that you're going into the right direction. And lastly, as Nicole have mentioned, similar to us, we believe in digital transformation, but without human transformation, none of this will ever work. So thank you.
Absolutely. And we are all ready to activate now your sustainability transformation, but we can't do it without you, right? So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for spending the last maybe an hour with us. We'll see you outside and feel free to talk to all of our panelists. Thank you.